shiurs will be on, I guess, very little on Tzav maybe, but it's Pesach, it's Shabbos Hagadol, a lot of things to talk about. So we'll see as we go along. Okay. Rashi brings down, a good note of Shabbos. Rashi brings down that what do you need the word Tzav? So he says it's a Lashon Zrizus of Miyad L'Doros. Why? Because you're spending money. It's called Tokto. The whole behemoth gets burnt up. Nobody has a noise from it. So it's a hefsid moment. So for people to spend money, it needs Zrizus. In other words, without Zrizus, it's very hard to spend money. Kasha that you have is every mitzvah that we don't, that's not permanent, is going to be a hefsid moment. And the truth is, even a permanent mitzvah, even though, let's say, you buy tefillin once, right? Hopefully once. I mean, sometimes you have to buy it a couple of times. But hopefully once. But even once, you're paying $1,000 now, a minimum probably. And it's going to last for you a long time. But it still costs me $1,000. And $1,000 was a one shot, not what I pay every day, a quarter or half a dollar or something like that, what it costs me to put on the tefillin. I can pay you $1,000 right away. And matzah or Shabbos, things you eat up, tzedakah for sure. You know, you don't have anything left. You gave it away, so you don't even have it. I think even the Chavis Alvovas counts it, this money that's not for you, see, that's to lose. He uses the lashon to lose, is taki, where you lose money, and also it's what you give to tzedakah, which is also you lose the money. You don't have any anoya from it. The oni has the anoya from it. So you didn't have any anoya from it. So there's money that's specially given to you that you don't have anoya from. There's money that you have anoya from, money you don't have anoya from. So the person has to realize that. So I want to tie this. So therefore, it doesn't make any sense that saying that that it's a din of zrizus, only the korban oila. I mean, everything is a hefsid moment. So I want to tie know what it means is, like we said when we learned last week in Vayikra, that it's the declaration that everything's min hashemayim. By that, what you're saying is, I really have nothing. Everything that I have is only min hashemayim. Even if I have it, like I worked on it, it's put it in the bank, I spend it now, it's afal pikein. The reason that you're able to do all that is only min hashemayim. In other words, there's times that you can work for something, you don't get it, and you don't end up with it. There's times that you can have and spend it, and you don't have the anoya from it. You don't have anything. In other words, I have the chiyus maybe from it, but I don't have the anoya from it. So therefore, that's what it means by the commitment. And I believe that this is mainly the attitude of the Haftarah of Shabbos Hagadol. Now you'll say, what does Shabbos Hagadol got to do with that? I really don't know. But the truth is, Parshas Tzav is Shabbos Hagadol pretty much most of the years. So on a regular year, Tzav is the Shabbos Hagadol. That's why you have words about Shmini. You have, there's a klal, I think, Shmini, Shmeina, Shmeina. If you learn Shmini 8 times, it's not this year. If you learn 8 times, that's a good year. And the thing don't know, how do you ever learn something 8 times? But we're counting these Monday, Thursday, and Mincha, Shabbos. So it's 4 times a week. So you have it 4 times, and if you have a second Shabbos type of thing like that, so you have to happen. You didn't get to learn on that. Even after Pesach, you didn't get to learn it yet, and then when you finally learn it, and that's a good year. Whatever it is, whether it is or not, I don't know. I once held the cheshbon that the last time that I remember it, that, or at least the time I thought about it, it was not necessarily a good year. But I don't know who tells us what a good year is. I mean, what do you know what a good year is? Okay, so look for it. Okay. Then the first message, mitzvah after that is Tumas Hadeshin. Like, it's a funny mitzvah. And yet, it became, in the Gemara Yuma, it talks about it became one of the 4 payasim that they used to make. They used to, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, they didn't quite do that, but they put out the thumbs. I mean, don't put out the thumbs. That's the one thing you can't put out, because that you can separate the thumb and the finger. You think 2 people are there. You understand? So you can't use the thumb and they said make sure they counted. But they counted the hands. They went down and see, that's one guy, next guy, and whatever the number they made up, to it, and that's what comes out on. But they made a pipe. But originally, when they made the avodah, there was no price for it. Whoever wanted to do it did it. The only thing is after one guy killed the other guy, so therefore they're 2 brothers, so therefore they made a pious on that too. That everyone wanted to do this mitzvah. What is the mitzvah? Tumas Hadeshin. You're taking some ashes, you're throwing it aside on his back, you get sunken into the Zorah. Like what is the mitzvah? What does it symbolize? So I think when we always talk about, ashes, the ashes of Yitzchak, right? The Hagadol. So you talk about the Efrem, and it became to offer. Why the offer? Why are we talking about the offer? There's a lot of work before the offer. We shechted him Hashem, we srikted his blood Hashem, we did this Hashem. Why the ashes? I think it's because it's the Gemara Ha'adava. When you finish the ashes, then the whole thing was done L'Shem Shemayim. That's what you can first say. If I speak it after the dam, how do I know if he did anything after the dam was good? But when you say with the Chumash Hadeshin, I hold that the Deshin is good. Remember the ashes. Everything we did was all in the Shemach. So therefore it's easier to accept that, or we have a tainif or whatever it is there. And that's what we come into the Rebbeinu Yishur for. What the Ikir is that we did it all. Hashem. Now to say this Islam, I will probably come across it. It's a development, so I don't really. I'm going to come across it so fast. Okay? And that it says over there. Because I always get the whole thing. Yeah, by Beiser, by Thomas Meiser, you're supposed to say Sisi Kachol Tzvisoni. So Shiva asked, why are you calling it Vidui? It's called Vidu Meiser. Why is it Vidu? Vidu says Chotosi, Avisi, Pashaiti. Where do you say Sisi Kachol Tzvisoni? I did everything you wanted me to do. That's bragging, whatever you want to call it. And so he used to say, if a person can actually say, he went through all this chatoim and all the things to make sure that he didn't do any. The biggest truth is Shaykh, where you say, I did everything you want me to do. I did, you didn't do, because a lot, I don't know if we spoke about this recently, a lot a person does, it's clear, a person did a lot. He had chazer. He didn't, whatever thing, So when you do that, I don't think there's anybody, at least that I know, that would say that he ever did these things. But ever be even lav meferish, I don't think anyone ever did. No one did chaylev, no one did dam, no one did what do you call it? No one did arayas, no one did what do you call it? So what are you doing? So what do you mean you did lav? You know, lav we don't do. Because lav is yes or no. You literally didn't do it. And eser, you got to do it. It depends how you do the eser. Eser has madrigas in it. You can serve, like you bring a cup of tea. That's an eser. You're serving a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Right? Bring him a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. Right? So there's one way how you can bring it with the acheret. So you stick it that way, you can stick it on the table over here. What you can do. When you go to a restaurant, there's a waiter. There's that guy that's a good tip. Why is he good? It's a good tip because he made me feel like a bench. He gave me things. Another guy, he don't deserve nothing. He just gave me like it. Here's your stuff and it goes away. So in an eser, there are different levels. So there, you don't know if you did the right way or not. You did what the best you could have done, maybe, or the best that you're in the mood of, or the best of whatever, because the truth is probably more mood than anything else. And then even a davening, that really daven today, you know. And sometimes you can say you walk away from davening, you say, that was a davening, right? And sometimes you walk away from the davening is, you know, I need to know, I got to do it again, really, but you know, but the Lord told us I can't do it, so there's no ticket. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm just going to switch over to the Haftarah, because the Haftarah, like I said, is basically about this idiot, the Haftarah of Shabbos Hagadol, not the Haftarah of Tzav. So it starts off, Yovel Hashem Yechas Yehuda v'Yishalayim. It's sweet. Oh, that's the word Orev. Over means it's sweet. Orev. The Milcha of Yehuda v'Yishalayim. So Shiva asked, why is that different than any other korban? Why are you picking on Orev Hashem Yechas Yehuda v'Yishalayim? Because like we also explained last week, that mincha is one that you dedicate everything that exists by you. There's no such thing as me. I have no me. We said the novel of the everything Hashemayim is an animal. This pshat is it lives by itself. It dies by itself. I can't guarantee those things. I can only do peripheral things. So you understand the fact that it lives is Hashemayim. But something that I did. I dug ditches, I did this, so I have maybe a Yitzhak to say, so it tells you, if you bring a mencha, you realize the Yud Malachas that you have to do to bring flour, to make bread, that those Yud Malachas will learn the Shem Shemayim, and that's even your physical labor. So therefore, you didn't make it because the Shemayim came out like that. So that's very important. And then it says, I'm going to start up. He has kindness to call Yisrael. Right? That we really don't listen, we don't do. And then he talks about Gezel. We steal from him, and we always ask the question, we didn't steal. Why are you calling it we stole from you? And then he says, where did you steal Hamaisa v'Truma? Tzedakah is There's Rabbi Yena that talks about monies. And then, I mean, there are a lot of people talk about it. I mean, that the Harav has big things on it. So showing. What do I mean by it? We started to talk about money, right? What's the purpose of money? Money is made to give out sometimes. I mean, so to use the lotion, it's a mashkin by you. That money is a mashkin. Mashkin gives you part of the money is, like we said, is for your use, to take care of people that you have a chiv to take care of, for yourself, for what is it. There's also money to waste, which is lose or tzedakah and stuff like that. I would say, so it depends what he gave me. When we have a law of Maisa, right? Maisa means from till a Chaimish, it's called Maisa, whatever, because there's different Maisas and stuff like that. So till a Chaimish is called Maisa. And yet we have a din, Yivayis Odom Yosef B'Chaimish. You can't spend more than the Chaimish. Depends on what. In other words, and then we have a person that, like Nagin Ben Gurion, that was punished because Mishum Gam L'Shichna, that the weight of tzedakah on a person is according to the camel's size. Not meaning the more you have, the more they put on you. So therefore, the guy is giving it. So let's understand. We talk about winning the lottery. I mean, that's now the easiest way to become a billionaire, is win the lottery, right? So you want to win the lottery. So let's understand what $1 million is and what $1 billion is. $1 million is about $1,000 a day for 3 years. That's $1 million. It's got it's less than 3 years, but I'm saying, but the idea is about 3 years, less than 3 years. So a person understands what $1,000 is. Of course, now we all know what $1,000 is. Once upon a time, maybe we didn't, but now we know b'chol yom v'yom what $1,000 is, and we know what a day is, a year is, 3 years. We can understand. So we have hasogya, what it means. $1 billion is $1,000 a day for 3,000 years. So somehow you don't think you have a hasogya what that means. There's too many zeros there somehow. I mean, I don't understand it. Because money means nothing. There's no such thing. It's impossible to spend it. That's why a guy has $1 billion, a guy has $200 billion. No difference between one and the other, except the way where they list you in what's that book? Forbes. Well, you know, Forbes 400. Which one from the bottom? Number 1, number 2, number 3. So comes a guy there, and where I'm listed, right? About I'm not spending anymore. I can't spend more than that. So so what's the point of giving it to me for? You say it's for your kids. My kids won't spend it. My grandkids won't spend it. Maybe your great-grandkids should have it. I don't know if there's any hagosha in that even. In other words, when it says l'nini l'nechti, it says that Rashi says Adkan Avas of Labonim. And I the person know what it means, the differences. I'm always glad to see the Yitzchak Halotzi, if you want to put it that way. I like to see my great-grandchildren. I like to see my great-great-grandchildren. And it's very nice, to see them. But you don't think about them all the time. Your kids never leave your mind. Your grandkids don't leave your mind. And just as an eitzah has nothing to do with the center, but I don't know, maybe I mentioned this also, that a kid comes to his parents. It's a shver, the grandparent. It's a shver zach. Why did we give him this ava to his grandchildren? He wants to buy them an ice cream. The parents say, "Don't spoil my kid," right? When we give him a matana, don't spoil my kid. I have no achrayus on him, right? And I have the zoba ava to him, right? And they tell me to stay out of it. So what did you do to me by giving me this ava? So I find this because when a guy comes to his parents, even the eitzes, the good eitzes, are done with the negiyas. How would it pass for me? Because you're my son. Can you make this shidduch? Can you make this business? Can you do this? Can you do that? Or whatever it is, to a zayda, it doesn't make a difference. The zayda only thinks about the kid. So if you want advice without any negiyas, you go to a zayda. He'll tell you the good advice, what you need to do, because he has that ava to you, but no negiyas. So it's a big thing there. So there's a difference. But past that, and they tell a story. I don't know how famous it is. About Yosef that left 6 days. So when they told him about it, I think it was about Efraim Kanievsky, he asked him, where's the bris going to be? He told him, Bnei Barak. He says he doesn't know if he can make it. It's a shver this year, and he's not ready for such things. Over 100-something years, he's not ready for a nesiyah of an hour each way or an hour and a half each way. Then people, this and that. So they said to him, but it's $6. So he says, kosher ladies. Like, what do you want from me? It's kosher ladies. Yeah, so what? So obviously there is no grace, to finish. He's my korv. I better take care of him. Don't have that negotiation. There's even a modern ma'ase. That's not modern. The rice is also isher bitoy, ubas bitoy, right? The rabbanon added shnius, but a great is mutter. You'll say, you're not a million years old and he's like that. Okay, good, that's now. But in the time of Noach, right? So they all look like 20 years old, so it doesn't make a difference. So obviously both look the same. The taiva could be there, but there is a taiva. I can marry her. There's no arayas anymore. So what do you mean she's your grandchild? She came from me, so big deal. She came from me. That doesn't make nothing. Okay. I don't know if I finished what I wanted to say on the other thing. Oh, and the mice on the thing there. So he said when we came to Parshas Truma, the learner says, V'yikru li Truma, and then he says, V'zois ha-Truma, this is what you take, Zov, Kesef, Necheshes, and whatever it is that he keeps going into, right? But he starts off first, V'yikru li Truma. So when he explained then, that, that's the wrong way of making an appeal. If you want people to give you money, you first tell you what you want to do with the money. And then you tell me this is what I need for it. But here I'm telling you what I want, and then you tell me what I'm going to do with the money, Vasily Migdosh. Right? The idea is the Bensham wanted you to give the money as it's his money, not your money. And I don't want donations. I don't want your money. In the sense that ich habe gegeben to the Beis HaMikdash. We gave the Avnei Hashem. You gave the Avnei Hashem, you gave the Avnei Maluim, you gave the Shem Lamoel and the Psomim, the Ktavis, the Beis HaMasamin, and you're still not in a div leiv. And the poor guy who just gave his what do you call it, 25 shkolim or something like that, or even less, he's in a div leiv. So it's not the amount of money, it's how you give it. I'm giving it, you're not giving anything. So this is a very important thing. And this really, okay, we can talk about it here also. It's one of the things of Chanuni no bazois. Right? In other words, the guy gives tzedakah, I want you to test me, right? What do you call it? Adli die, whatever is going to be the case of Lechem Bracha, Adli die, right? So it's going to keep giving you that you're going to have so much bracha that you're going to scream die. It's enough, I can't take care of it anymore. I mean, I have nowhere to put it, you know. I only have a 3-car garage. I mean, you can't give me 4 cars. So what am I going to do with it? You know? I really, again, this is a side strip on the side, I'm sorry. But says Rabbi Akiva, B'soif Yomov, when he became very rich, he had Mita Shel Zohar, Kesef. And the truth is, I don't know how comfortable they are. There's not as strong as iron, that's for sure. So do they cave in every so often or not? I really don't know. I mean, I'm sure gold, if it's not, you make the right alloy, it's going to fold, it's going to break. Silver may not be that way. I mean, I don't know. I don't have the mitzvah, so I can't answer you. But it seems to tell me a grace is right? Now, we learn about Rabbi Akiva. We're b'nei Torah. Do we desire that even? Should we even desire it? No. What's it going to help me? The table shall solve. What am I going to do with it? Right? I want things I can use. Maybe I want a fancier wood. I want a nicer carving, a nicer this. But you're not talking in the billions. You're talking... So I paid $1,000 for my set, and you pay $10,000 for your set. But that's about it. You're not going to have a million things. You can always measure more. That you should know that the Bensham also does it. I don't know if the Bensham does it or it puts it into the minds of humans. I got to be better than you, right? So let's say I got a carat ring for my wife. You got a carat ring for your wife. So what makes me better than you? You got a I number that you got in Macy's that you don't sell better than I. So you got an I number. So you're a poor man. I bought it in Tiffany's. I got a D colorless. Me cost 10 times as much as yours cost. But to the guy who looks at it, he couldn't tell the difference. Unless you come here with your loop there and to taking a look and let me see over there. You know, there are guys I know that can find the gum with a normal eye, but normally a guy that looks at it shines. It's a nice stone. What do you want from me? With this smart cup. So obviously, when I got married, it didn't change. There was no difference. It was $500 a carat. Big difference in now. But that was $500 a carat. But you can get a carat that's, what do you call it? And they think, so it depends what kind of carat you got. That's the only difference. And then those guys that took in with pigams that was nickel, very nickel, so it was much less, and stuff like that. But you didn't have this level of purity of colorless, this, whatever. These shaders didn't exist. But we all have too much money. So how are you going to make money in the bank? We both have. So what's the yichus, you or me? That's what I have. Okay. But in their time, it was different. In the time of Rabbi Akiva. In other words, you have no banks. At least where we have a bank now. You have extra money, you put it in the bank, right? What do you do with the bank? You don't have the money anymore. It's in the bank. Yeah, but I got access to it. I got it. It's liquid. It's this and that. You have a depression. Oh, you lost your money. It's in the bank. But normally the money in the bank is I got in the bank. It's mine. It's tachas yodi. What do you do when we had money in those times? More than you need. You had to dig a hole in the ground and bury it. Right? Shlish boretz. Right? It's not only real estate, it also means you bury it in the ground. Because I have nothing to spend it on at the moment. It's got to be in a safe place. The safe place is buried in the ground. Right? So Rabbi Akiva was a smarter man than that. Every time I gotta go out, dig it down, and then I'm scared someone may find and look at it and see, oh, that land it was just dug, let's go do it. They'll go with a metal detector and they'll catch up my money, so I'm scared to bury it. So what's the best thing to do? You keep it in the house. And how do you keep it in the house? It just takes up the room, right? Make it into a bench, make it into a thing there, so at least it's usable. You do something with it, but it has no value. No one's doing it because of that. So he had so much it was extra. That's all it's trying to tell you. So the shadow is, how do you spend it? You break off a leg and you go to school with it. I mean, that's about it. What else are you going to do with it? So, so it says that you know that the Chanuni Nobazoi. So the Shiva said that we shouldn't really test the Benish. We shouldn't do it. The Navi says we should do it. He said we shouldn't do it. He says, why shouldn't we do it? Because if you test the Benish, he tests you back. And you don't want to be tested by the Benish. So therefore, it's okay. One thing he guaranteed from a Rambam, it's interesting, there's other Achronim that I saw that they learn that for every mitzvah you spend the money, you get it back. That was that tefillin we were talking about before, somewhere it comes back. Shabbos, we know for sure you get it back. That's clear. Again, do you ever make a cheshbon? Did you ever make a cheshbon what you spent for Shabbos you got back? I never made such a cheshbon, and you'll ask anybody about oh, Shabbos is so expensive, I don't know what I'm going to do. Yontif, Shabbos and Yontif is together, because I told you Machlekes and they do Medroshim, if the mud fell on Yontif or not. If the mud fell on Yontif, so then it's Ketzuvim by Rosh Hashanah. If it didn't fall on Yontif like Shabbos, so then it's Leimik Ketzuvim by Rosh Hashanah. That means it's whatever you spend, you get back. So, but everyone said, I don't have what to spend on Yontif. I don't have for Yontif. I don't have for Yontif. But Benisham Gittoch, why are you screaming about you don't have? So, you lay it out first. That's the point. I pay you back, right? I may pay you back before you have to spend it. That you have to have the guts to do. And sometimes the guts comes because you don't have any other rates. I remember when I got married, I had this mice. That's why I can say it. I was the youngest to get married in my group, whatever it is. So Friday night, the Bachrim and the neighborhood would come up to the house. And that was very nice, to sing Zmiris, to talk of learning, and what do you call it? But you got to fabring with something. You got to have some cake, You have to have some soda, stuff like that, you know. But it's not a bad thing that they come up to you in the house. It should be basically should be based vadol chachamim. Why not? You know, it's a good thing. But it costs $10 a week. That time was $10 a week. And you had to do most of the work yourself. It was a Duncan Hines cake. You had to go buy the box of cover. It was 89 cents, whatever it was at that time. And then you bought the soda, and then whatever it is, a few bottles of soda, and that was $10. But I didn't have $10. You got married just now. What do you mean you don't have 10 marries? So some nights happened, I lost all the money. So I didn't have anything. And every Friday, in the beginning, I used to worry like a mishugana, like, what am I going to do, what am I going to do? And it was always, by the time Erev Shabbos came along, when I still had to be able to get the stuff, I had the $10. And this was listed about, I mean, how many years, but I remember after about 6 months, you forget about it. You don't even worry anymore. Like, you know, it's push it, I'm going to get the $10 today, and anything like that. So sometimes the bench gives it to today, but then it's nicker, you know, straight Shabbos, it has nothing to do with me. But normally, the way we normally do, you made money, you buy stuff for Shabbos, whatever it is there, and now you're supposed to get it back. Where do I get it back? How do I get it back? Right? The fact that they pay me X amount of dollars, so how much is called for my work, how much is called for Shabbos? It doesn't make any sense. However, that's Ksuvim. If it's Ksuvim Rosh Hashanah upstairs, if it's Ksuvim downstairs, it's foolish for surely Ksuvim. If I can tell you I make $50,000 a year, from there comes out Shabbos. So it's Ksuvim. So what are you blaming me a cup? It's not Ksuvim. So Pshat is that really you don't have for Shabbos. And you're eating Shabbos. I'll explain that in a minute too. Okay. And you have for Shabbos. How do you have for Shabbos? There are sales. And it doesn't have to be for Shabbos sales. You know, like I come in, like, you know, the ShopRite has 50 cents off today on this product, something like that. So there, you know, where's the 50% come from? Reuven gave it to you. Didn't have to be there. You know. That's a halvatzor. That even, maybe it's nikya. But when I bought the suit, I bought it 50% off. Why was I zorcha to buy a suit for 50% off? So that's money. And it's also money that's without cheshbon. Like, in other words, tips. Honorariums, if you want to call it that, tips, the stock market, whatever it is, it's without cheshbon. And you get a boost. We're able to cash in at that moment. That's Shabbos. That's where you get money Shabbos. You can make a cheshbon yourself every year or every day, you know. But then you can always run into, was it for Shabbos, wasn't it for Shabbos? Because not everything, Rashi says, not everything is counted for Shabbos just because I bought it for Shabbos. It has to be something that's rogul boy. So the question is, how do I become rogul boy? In other words, it's very nice. God's paying for it. Let me see what you bought in a table look like, taste like, right? What God's paying for, why shouldn't I go to the fanciest restaurant and stuff like that? The benchman doesn't pay for that. He pays for what you need, for what to you is considered choshuv. That's what he pays for. So the kasha is, how do you ever make something into a rogel? I'm a poor guy. How did I become a rogel? So I've seen this. This is a cantaloupe, a delicious cantaloupe, is 69 cents in the summertime. Right? And you get a nice big one for that. Right? Why? Because there's a lot of melons. You want to buy a melon in, let's say, in February, cantaloupe, they'll charge you $4, $5, $6 for it, and it tastes like a potato. Right? So why are you buying it? kasha. I tasted it, I had cantaloupe. But past that, you don't have it. You have Shabbos, you don't eat just a sandwich. You have courses. So you have a Vorspeise, a mo. So maybe you give a fruit, a piece of cantaloupe, something like that. So the fact that I buy it for so long, that's for me it's choshev to give cantaloupe before we give gefilte fish. So, you know, with the second Vorspeise, so the mention is going to give it to me. I fought to buy it for 69 cents, not $4. I never would have bought it $4. But since you bought it 69 cents, I'll give you $4 also. Because to you made Shabbos dependent on madreges. I'm going to give you the ability to do it. But he's just not paying me just because I want to taste something or something like that. So that's Shabbos. We talk about stockage, Shabbos, getting the money back. Yeah. But the biggest thing is, how do you give it in the first place? I mean, these are all emunas that you try to get from people that talk about big money. The little money people, you don't even talk about that. You know, you talk about a nickel for a guy standing, you give him a nickel. Right? No one gives nickels anymore, but whatever it is, that you don't even talk about. That's another person. I'm giving from mine. No, you're not giving anything from yours. That's the point. Another thing, it's not only the dollars you're giving from pensions, and the quarters are also little pensions. Okay. So there you have the difference. So if I use the money, Rabbeinu Yena and others says that stocker is money that you're able to use for yourself. Even though it's a mashkin for the oni, but you're able to use it for yourself. Other monies?
What does that mean?
That's what I'm going to try and explain in a minute. You know, what do you mean use it for yourself? Right? So the Sfardim do this pretty good. They don't do with stocker necessarily, with individual stocker, but they'll make a parlor meeting, let's say, when they build a new house. The first thing they do with a new house is to make an union of stock in it. I know this because I attended through them. That's why I know that that's what the sheet is. You say everyone has that sheet. I can't tell you that either. But these are the people. So they made a parlor meeting for the yeshiva, let's say, right? Rabbeinu Shalom, we built the room for the yeshiva to make a parlor meeting. Now it's over. Right? We used it up already, the parlor meeting was made. What am I supposed to do with the room? Now I can use it. So it's made to use. But I can have a noya for it. But if I wasn't a billionaire to build the room in the first place, so therefore I wouldn't have a noya from it. So there's an meaning you can have a noya from what he gives you. I would think even more than that. You used to have what do you call it? The one took care of the office, Lubkovsky. So when we started the yeshiva, so I used to go a lot to try to get money with him. So he would explain his methods and my methods. And how mine is not going to do work to money, and by him it's going to how he makes money. Give me two misholim. He says, if you come to a little town out of town, and the only train out is 11 o'clock in the morning, right? What time are you going to be there to get the train? 10 o'clock, right? It's the only time you're going to be there at 10 o'clock. Make sure you don't mix the 11 o'clock. So therefore you're going to be there at 10 o'clock. So how many hours did you give up from collecting. You're not collecting, you're only collecting until 10 o'clock, right? It says, me, there's a second train that comes by, but doesn't stop. It just goes through as an express at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I would stand in the middle of the tracks and wave it down until it stops. So therefore, I got time till 5 o'clock to collect money. That was one place he told me. And then go over there. And then he says there's another way. You're going to come to a guy, you're coming to a big deal. You want to ask him for $1 million. How are you going to come? You want to show him you don't waste any money for yourself, you don't take anything yourself. He comes to the Roman, right? Come by subway, come by this, that. No one comes by subway anymore, but I mean, it was once upon a time he came by subway. Okay. So what's he going to give you? The guy came in, so I'll give him $5. Of course, from just walking around Nasa Psochim, you get a nickel. I'll give you $5. But $5 isn't doing your job either. Not going to help you. There's a guy, they'll go hire a chauffeur with a limousine. And he comes to the guy like this. The deal says, I can't just give him $25 because that's what he paid for the limo. Right? And I can't give him $50 because that's what he paid for what he also. I got to give him $100. What's going to have done? Right? So he's stuck. But you will give the $5, and that's it. That's the difference. So you spend it now. Okay, whether they work or not, I don't know. I didn't have the guts to do that. But the mice that he's telling me is a man. So again, so I want to tie into the difference. That what do you mean? Mashkin, not a mashkin, you're allowed to use it, is the others don't seem to use that lotion that you're allowed to use it. Just say it's a mashkin by you. But the definition of mashkin means that it's definitely not, it's hanging around, but it's not necessarily nikah that's anywhere. I mean, stuff like that. So I think it means this. In order, let's talk big money. In order to be a guy that's giving out a lot of money, right? He can't do it himself. Why? Because he's working, or whatever, he's earning the money, or something like that. So he gets a younger man to be his Gabbat Stalker. Okay, it's very nice. You got a younger man. In there, he still has a covet from having the younger man. Because when the younger man working for him, he's living off him. Right? So if he says, younger man, you go in the kitchen, bring me a cup of coffee. Right? He's not ashamed to ask him. And he'll come back and bring him a coffee. Right? So he has a noya from the younger man being in his house constantly because he's, what do you call it, he's getting served. He doesn't have to pay for a servant. And stuff like that. You need a foundation, needs a fancy house. You need a place where you make applications, you need this, you need that. A place where you wait, you need a fancy office. Because if I don't look like a gevil, people are not going to come to me for money. If I don't look like a gevil, so I have to look like a gevil. So these things I'm allowed to use. One way is I can have minane from the clothes I wear, the house I live in, the house I give out the tzedakah from, and stuff like that, which just gives cover to the tzedakah, it also gives cover to me. I'm allowed to do. Am I allowed to waste money? Like, in other words, I want to show I'm a gevil. So how do you show a gevil? I remember this years ago, but now you couldn't get away with it. But my time was still $50,000 on a kitchen was considered a lot of money when I was in the 20s, 30s. And a normal guy, if he had to fix something in the kitchen, would go down to They didn't exist at that time. What do you call it?
Home Depot?
Home Depot or something like that. And buy from their stuff, and of course for $5,000 I could do the same thing. But it doesn't look the same, right? Not the same. So, not the go to Home Depot. I want to show I can afford $50,000, so I tell it to you. I tell it, this kitchen costs $50,000, and you look around on it, big deal. Well, why is he $50,000? But he told you it cost him $50,000. Why is he telling it to you? Because I can spend the $50,000 and you can't. So now he feels a lot bigger than you by telling you that that's how much he spent on it. So there's a lot of that's the Gaiva point. I don't know if you're allowed to have that, because that's not part of the tzedakah. That's Zeitigzaf. I'm doing it only for that reason, not because the takeh, it helps us being a tzedakah institution should look nice. A yeshiva should look nice. I think should look nice. So I'm not doing it for that reason. So then maybe I can have a noya from it. That's what I'm saying. But that I don't know. So it's not the game.
If she just says you're allowed to have an office tzedakah, you can build a big house. What does that mean? That's your personal money or the money you give to Mesa?
Yeah, but it's also a point in the big house you keep aniyim in it and stuff like that. I have place for them. So I have a thing, if I have a small house, I can't put up anybody. Right? So maybe if nobody's coming this week, so I invite my family for a good Shabbos, and some like I have anoya myself.
What is it? I'm not allowed to use my personal money to build a big house. What
Yes,
does that mean?
what's
build a big house.
what's called your personal money? How much do you need?
So I make $1 million a year. I want to use $1 million.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what it tells you. It's the guy's got the money is made as a mashkin. It's not yours. I don't give you $1 billion for you. It's impossible. You can't spend it. So what's the money for? The money's spent to give out. $1 million you can spend. So I'm giving it for you. You want to give away for yourself? Maybe I'll give you more and stuff like that. But he's talking about this, the billion. The guy who has the billion, he's giving for what he has. He's not making it anymore. He's not spending that billion. He never can spend it. You don't even have to be a billionaire for that. You can be a millionaire for that too. Let's say an average percentage-wise is about 10% a year is a good business investment, right? Investment in the year. So if I have $1 million, so I get back $100,000, right? So I can live on $100,000. I don't have to work. Okay, $100,000 is not enough anymore. So I want $500,000 to live on. So if I had $5 million, it's also genug. I don't have to work anymore, right? Because I'm living on the $5 million. Every year I'm going to have $5 million. Everything going to do. If you have $1 billion working for you, you're producing $50 million, $100 million every year. $100 million every year you surely can't spend. So what's the point of the money for? Again, it's money that's to give out. It's not for you. And that's what happened to Nagdim Ben Gurion. Even though the Gemara says he gave a lot of tzedakah, and Nagdim Ben Gurion is a tzaddik gomer. I mean, let's not put any names on him, the same with Chiefsgate or something like that. If you're a tzaddik gomer, the one of the three people the sun stood still for is Nagdim Ben Gurion. So obviously he's a big guy. So why did it stay still for him? Because he was that much of a tzaddik. And Afal Pikain, he became such an oni that his daughter had to take the kernels from the oats from among the schmutz of the horses that they have, because they don't digest the kernels. So if you eat, sometimes you eat corn, you go to bed, so you'll find out the corn comes out whole. Just as you ate it. Comes out, you swallow whole pieces, it will come out whole. Why? Because that doesn't get digested so fast. I don't know why, but depends if obviously if you have just regular normal stomach or not normal stomach. I'm not going into that. But the Rabbi said that's what they used to collect. They used to collect that. And yet, Rabbi Yechon ben Zakkai signed for 1 million, what do you call it, Dinron on Hak Subeh. Elef Halofen, Dinron was Hak Subeh. And yet they lost every penny. And not only their penny, but because that's why Rabbi Yechon ben Zakkai asked us. He says, so where's your Shver's money? Okay, your money, Nagdin's money, gotten lost. Where's your Shver's money? Maybe they're also rich people. Said, yeah, but the monies were mixed up. So they're not only your money, but they look at the Shver's money took too. So everybody was Shver. So what did he do wrong? He said, because he couldn't come to Shechna. He didn't give the feed the Madrege that he was supposed to be at. Maisa is only for money that you get for you. You're supposed to give Maisa from. There's a thing over there. But for money that I gave for the Aniyim, that goes to the Aniyim. That has nothing to do with you. I think that now, how much am I supposed to give more? I don't know. I have to worry about it. If I got into that madrig, I'll start worrying about it. Meanwhile, I'm not there. I mean, but it's the thing is to understand, do I have to give this much as a thing? And then there's a part for me too. So for me, so I can have, so it means that instead of eating, what do you call it? Chitim, I'll eat soirim. I'm not mechuyev to do that. You want to give tzedakah? No, I'm not mechuyev to do that, mashma. So guys, how to work that you can work out. We should all have that problem, so we should worry about it. Is how to actually give the tzedakah. But with Maisa, it's a chiyuv. It's not a game. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not a game. But you see sometimes people, just to show that they're wealthy, have to show off. That's not a point. Because for me to make such a wedding, for me to do this, I have to have something to show that I spent money. Now, what would you consider as a large band? Interesting. What would you consider a large band? I went to a chasana, and boy, there wasn't a Takota wedding where you had one player. It was a namish and then a band. So I got married at a 5-piece band. And they had no microphones in my time. I mean, they had microphones, but they didn't use them. The idea was for the size of the place, you had to put in the union rules how many people you have to have in a band, because it has to be that everyone can hear the band. So and stuff like that. So the bigger the place, the more people in the band. But you've gone to chasana where they have 3 pieces, so then where they have a violinist maybe comes along, a flutist maybe comes along. So so that I've seen already. Also not that called a wedding, because you got more than the board, whatever they call it. But you never saw a 20-piece band. So I've been at chasanas that had a 20-piece band. Right? I went to a chasana already that had 25-piece band. Okay? And I don't know how many piece choir, 50-piece choir, something like that. Okay. You hear it better because it's a 50-piece choir, or they're yentering between themselves too much at that time. But there's a 50-piece bass up there. You know how many microphones you need for them. You know, each one, you watch, each one gets his own microphone, every piece. You know, the thing out in there, you know. Who supplies the microphones, the hall or the guy? Anything like that. Okay, so then you know what a gevir is. That's what I'm trying to say. Why are you doing it for? It's nicer music? Maybe it is, I don't know. You know, the thing there. But somehow it's, I can do it, you can't. That's the difference. And it all goes with those inyanim. There's a lot more to it. Maybe this is one more, as I say. This is half the time already. In the end, the Yontzuf, it says there's the Rebbeinu Shem is going to be mafchin on the days that the Gula is going to come. Ben Avodah, ben Oiver Hashem, L'lo Avodah. So the Gemara calls it Shaila, you said about it being tzaddik l'rosh. So what do you mean between Oiver Hashem and L'lo Avodah? He says, no, we're talking about two tzaddikim. Except one learned 100 times and one learned 101 times. Right? So the guy learned 101, and the daimel guy learned 101 to the guy learned 100. These are numbers beyond us. Anyone that actually learned 101. There are Yechidim that learned a specific Masechta 101 times. I've heard that. But have you ever heard that the Kula learning is 101 times? Gelernt, not gedavnt, gelernt. Somehow, I don't hear such a thing. So I tell you the difference is this. The Gemara gives three types of memory. There's this, learn a basic memory is 4 times. Then there's 40 is munach b'kisim. It's in your pocket. You got it. But I think the pocket means I still have to look for it. It's in my pocket and say it's in my head. 100 times maybe makes it in my head. 101 times you don't need. So why am I learning it 101 times? Right? So I want to tell you that's pshat. Now, Oiver Hashem lo yavodai. Lo yavodai means he's learning. He's learning to know the Torah. But once he reaches 100, he's finished. I don't have to learn it anymore. I know it. Right? But Oiver Hashem, I'm doing it because you were metzaveh me to learn Torah, not because I have to learn Torah to know the dinim. I have to learn Torah because you were metzaveh me. And that's the case, that is an Oiver Hashem. Then you learn it even 101 times. A guy likes a book, right? Why are you reading it? You read it already. You know the whole story. So why are you reading it again? I like the way it's written. Right? I like the way it's written. So I like the way it's written, so that's what I love it for. I like the way the Rebbeinu gave me the Torah. I like this thing. That's because the Rebbeinu gave it. That's a different story. So it's an English to bring in the Rebbeinu. So I always wonder, you know, we all go daven. We all go learn Torah. Right? And if I ask you why you're davening, because I state in Torah, as I state in Shulchan Aruch, they state in this. Did anyone say, as the Rebbeinu Shem is Tzav given? I don't think we say that. It doesn't fit. And yet I think if we would say that, it would make a bigger difference in how we go to daven. I'm going because the Rebbeinu told me I got to go. What's the name of the Torah? Who's the Torah? Right? Oh, that's somebody that's not the Rebbeinu, but somebody less than the Rebbeinu. Less than the Rebbeinu, I don't have to listen too much. I mean, big deal. You know, the thing over there. So I'm saying, I just wonder, if that would be a different thing. That's what I mean. Because in other words, why am I learning Torah? Because the Rebbeinu gave it, not because I got to know it. You don't say, the Rebbeinu gave it, I got to know it. That's what I'm learning Torah. You say, the Rebbeinu gave it, that's what I'm learning Torah. So I'm learning 101 times. I got to know it, I learn 100 times. I'm good in Shabbos, I'm good in Yontif, so I'm having a chag kosher and Seforim for everybody. And those are Shnatz Gula v'Yeshua. We're in Nissen, it's good be, whenever it is. You may want to do the Korban Pesach still this year, so we don't know. It's the Tumah can be done, so. But the fact that we're Tumah don't mean nothing. The thing that's our life.
After Shiur,
I didn't hear.
wants a broth, but I had a question on the Shake.